Imagine the most powerful supercomputer in the world. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in processing power, capable of handling massive data streams in a fraction of a second. But one day, the cooling fans break down. The thermal management system completely fails. What happens? Heat builds up the motherboard fries, and ultimately, the entire system crashes. Our brains are no different. Have you ever wondered why world-class executives whose time is worth thousands of dollars are Minotaur elite systems? Engineers managing multi-million-dollar projects willingly waste 15 minutes a day just sitting still with their eyes closed. Do they just have too much free time? Absolutely not. And what's even more surprising, why do highly logical Westerners buy plane tickets to fly across the globe just to practice Kamathana meditation in the forest temples of Thailand? They aren't flying all that way because they believe in magic or want a mystical amulet. They travel because they see something else entirely. The most advanced mind management technology on the planet. Welcome to all the young professionals, team members, and ambitious minds tuning in. This is the Logical Monk channel, the podcast where we use engineering frameworks, technology, and MBA principles to decode happiness and logic in a way you can actually apply to your daily life. For those who have been following us through episodes 18, 19, and 20, you know we discussed the 38 auspicious principles of life. If we look at this through the lens of system engineering, these 38 principles are essentially the system architecture or the foundational hardware of a good life. It starts with filtering out toxic connections, choosing the right physical environment, and setting clear, actionable goals. Once you have this solid hardware architecture in place, your life has a stable foundation. But here's the catch. For hardware to run at peak efficiency, it needs a stable core processor. In episode 21, we are going to look past the external casing and dive deep into upgrading this core processor, your mind. Through the mechanics of chanting and meditation, we are going to see how these aren't mystical rituals, but rather forms of preventive maintenance. We are doing routine checks to ensure your life's operating system doesn't crash from the malware of modern stress. The core problem for today's workforce, especially for those of you in your 20s just entering the arena, or senior managers juggling team deliverables, tight timelines, and negotiating with various vendors, is that we operate our lives like a web browser with 100 tabs left open. We have urgent tasks, cash flow to manage, relationships to maintain, and a constant barrage of social media notifications pinging in the background. What is the result from an engineering standpoint? Your system's RAM is entirely consumed by background apps. Your processing power, your ability to focus on the task right in front of you drops drastically. You start making poor decisions, your emotional regulation fails, and eventually, you hit total burnout. This is the definition of an overheated brain. When the system is never rebooted, the cache is never cleared, and junk files are never deleted. It's only a matter of time before you get the blue screen of death. This is a universal pain point that almost every working professional is facing, often without even realizing it. Let's start with chanting. From the perspective of physics and science, chanting isn't about aimlessly begging the universe for favors. It is an exercise in acoustic resonance. When you vocalize a chant with a consistent rhythmic cadence, the low-frequency sound waves echoing in your throat and chest stimulate the vagus nerve, the primary data cable connecting your brain to your body. When this nerve is stimulated, it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. This is your body's built-in rest and digest switch. It forcibly ramps down your brainwaves from the highly alert, stressful beta state, slowing them into a beautifully ordered alpha state, which is optimal for calm focus. Chanting is literally pressing the defragment button on your hard drive. It organizes the scattered data, prepping your brain to handle heavy workloads without lagging. Now, let's look at the science of meditation. World-renowned research led by neuroscientist Sarah Lazar at Harvard Medical School used fMRI brain scans to prove, right before our eyes, that meditation physically alters the anatomical structure of the brain. This is known as neuroplasticity. Subjects who meditated for just 20 to 30 minutes a day over an 8-week period showed a literal increase in the tissue density of the prefrontal cortex, the front part of the brain responsible for logic, reasoning, and executive decision-making. It's exactly like upgrading your processor to a faster model. Simultaneously, the amygdala, the primitive part of the brain that generates fear, stress, and anger, significantly shrank in size. This is hard, empirical evidence that meditation is quite literally structural engineering for the human brain. If we view this through the lens of business administration or an MBA, the ROI return on investment of meditation is astronomical. Take Google, the global tech giant. They developed an internal course called Search Inside Yourself, engineered by their own software developers, to teach employees mindfulness. The result? Productivity skyrocketed, and the turnover rate due to stress plummeted. Or, consider the case of Ray Dalio, the billionaire founder of Bridgewater Associates, the largest hedge fund in the world. Managing hundreds of billions of dollars amidst extreme market volatility, Dalio explicitly stated that transcendental meditation is the single biggest reason for whatever success I've had. Why? Because during a crisis, when the market panics, people who lose their minds make fatal errors. But a person who has engineered space in their brain through meditation can see the underlying data and patterns. They make the sharpest decisions to buy or sell, while everyone else is blinded by noise. So, why do top-tier executives and highly educated Westerners fly across oceans to learn meditation in Thailand? Or move to places like Chiang Mai seeking tranquility? The answer is, they aren't chasing religious rituals. They are coming to study kamathana. The literal translation of kamathana is the working ground. In engineering terms, it is a working laboratory for the mind. Thailand possesses an ecosystem of mental training that has been systematically refined over thousands of years. There are clear step-by-step protocols. There is experimentation, the practice, and there is measurable output, a stabilized state of mind. These logical thinkers look past the cultural shell and see the core mechanism. An algorithm for eliminating suffering that is entirely rational and cause and effect based. That is the true value they are crossing the world to find. At this point, some of you might be arguing in your heads, that's great, but happiness doesn't pay the bills. Cash solves everything. And I agree with you partially. In a capitalist system, money is the cash flow that keeps the system running. We all have to work, and capital provides options. But here is the true equation. Generating massive wealth while living with a constantly chaotic, stressed mind is like owning a world-class, multi-million-dollar server, but failing to install an antivirus or a firewall. Eventually, you get hit by malware stress or ransomware stress-induced illness, and your whole system crashes. All that cash flow gets redirected to medical bills. The happiness that stems from inner peace from mindfulness is your life's firewall. It holds a value higher than money because it protects your wealth. It ensures you have the clarity to enjoy your capital without destroying your health in the process. That is the smartest way to manage your life's balance sheet. The biggest obstacle preventing young professionals from training their minds is a myth. We are stuck on the stereotype that meditation requires wearing white robes, throwing your phone in a river, running into the woods, and sitting cross-legged in a temple. The moment you try to sit still, your mind wanders, and you immediately declare, "I can't do this. It's not for me." Delete that image from your mind immediately. In engineering, meditation is simply a matter of vector and focus. It is the channeling of your energy into a single point without friction. We call this dynamic meditation. You don't have to sit perfectly still. Jogging, making a pour-over coffee, organizing computer files, or even driving your Corolla, of these can be profound meditation exercises, provided you attach real-time awareness to the action. To make this theory actionable, I've prepared an engineer's action plan for you. We aren't going to start with an hour of sitting. We are going to start with micro-meditation, integrating focus into your existing daily loop. Morning coffee, focus. When you brew or drip your coffee, don't doom scroll on your phone. Put the device down, spend just 60 seconds completely focused on the aroma, the sound of the hot water hitting the beans, and the warmth against your fingers. The transit reset. When walking from the parking lot to your desk, or even walking to the restroom, shift your processing power away from work anxieties. Just feel the physical impact of your feet hitting the floor. Left, right, left, right. The pre-meeting reboot, right before you unmute on Google Meet or walk into a boardroom, take 3 deep breaths. Notice the air hitting the tip of your nose. You are clearing your brain's RAM and dumping the emotional cache from the previous task. Once you establish these basic base camps, and your brain gets used to brief moments of silence, you can easily scale up to 10 or 15 minutes of deep breathing in the morning or before bed. Ultimately, it doesn't matter how well you've built the external architecture of your life using the 38 principles. If the operator of the machine your mind is glitching, the whole system is always on the verge of collapse. Chanting and meditation are not tools for people trying to escape the real world. Quite the opposite. They are the advanced toolkit for world-class operators who use mental technology to execute tasks with sharper precision, less fatigue, and an easier path to happiness in a chaotic world. All this theory, the Harvard research, the balance sheets we've discussed today, it all becomes junk data taking up space in your head. Unless you execute, I challenge you to start right this second. When this podcast ends, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and tell yourself, "I am resetting my system." You will discover that the true algorithm for success and happiness begins right at the tip of your nose. For those who want to dive deeper into the science, I've linked the Harvard studies and references in the description below to honor the researchers who provided this world-class data. If you enjoyed this logical breakdown of life's operating system, don't forget to subscribe and share this with your team. Until next time on the Logical Monk channel, let mindfulness be your compass and logic be your map. Have a great day.